Evan Cutter had no business touching her there. That was how it would look to any man riding over the rise. A giant Apache girl lay face down in the burned summer grass, her legs forced apart by ropes, ankles tied to two clean-cut stakes driven deep into the earth. Dust clung to her skin where sweat had dried. The rope bit hard into her ankles, pulled so tight it lifted her hips just off the ground. Evan Cutter, 49, broad-shouldered and weather-cut, knelt beside her. His hands were under her upper thighs, lifting just enough to see the injury. From a distance, it looked wrong. Up close, it was worse. The wound sat high on her inner thigh, raw and swollen, where rope and gravel had rubbed until flesh gave way. Every time Evan shifted her weight to ease the pull on her ankles, her body jerked in pain. Her breath came sharp and fast. Her shoulders trembled, teeth clenched, refusing to give the desert the sound of her suffering. She was built for mountains, not mercy, but right now she was pinned low, forced open, displayed in a way meant to break something inside her long before it broke her body. Evan leaned closer, jaw tight, judging how deep the rope had cut. If he lifted her wrong, he could tear her worse. If he did nothing, the rope would keep sawing with every breath. He adjusted his grip, careful but firm, and that was when her voice came. "Don't. It still hurts there." The words were not loud. They did not need to be. They hit him like a hand to the chest. Evan froze, not because she begged him to stop helping, but because she was begging him not to touch a place where pain had already stolen enough from her. For a suspended moment, everything balanced on what he did next. The wrong move would turn him into exactly what the world expected a man to be when a woman was tied down and alone. The valley lay silent, July heat pressing down like judgment. A distant windmill squealed once, then went quiet. The grass hissed softly in the wind. A hawk circled high. Slowly, Evan eased his hands away, not fast, not dramatic, like a man unloading a gun he did not want to fire. He shifted back on his heels and forced space between them, the kind of space that says, "I see you, and I won't decide for you." Her eyes stayed wide and sharp, watching him like an animal that had learned what hands could do. Evan noticed her wrists were free, and that was wrong. Whoever had done this wanted her arms free, wanted her to feel every choice. He looked again at the stakes. They were not crooked branches. They were clean fence posts, cut straight, driven deep, spaced evenly. This was not panic. This was intention. Evan reached slowly for his belt. Her whole body tensed like a bow pulled tight. He pulled free his knife and laid it on the ground beside her, handle toward her fingers. Then he set down his canteen. Then a clean folded cloth. He said nothing. He stood and turned his back to her, angling his body so his shadow cut the sun from her eyes. Behind him, he heard the rope creak, metal scrape dirt, a low grunt that never turned into a cry. Evan did not turn around. The first rope snapped. The second took longer. When her ankles finally came free, her body dropped, not collapsing, but surrendering the strain it had been forced to hold. Silence followed, not threatening, but the kind that comes after something terrible ends. He heard the canteen open, harsh swallows, then steadier. That was his signal. He turned. She sat upright in the scorched grass, cloth pressed high on her inner thigh. Her face was pale under the dust, but her eyes were clear. They exchanged a single nod, no apology, no claim, only respect. Evan realized the truth settling heavy in his chest. She had not been left there to die. She had been left to be found. It was a message. Somewhere close, a horse shifted its weight. Not his horse. A hidden rider, watching, testing. Evan backed toward his horse. "We leave now," he said. She did not argue. They moved slow and careful. When she tested her legs, pain showed in the tight set of her jaw, but she made no sound. When she placed her palm on his forearm, it was not a plea. It was a decision. He helped her into the saddle and handed her the reins first. That was not politeness. That was respect. They rode east, away from the stakes, away from the message planted in the dirt. Evan's ranch sat low near Benson, a small house, a corral, a pump that complained when it worked. Nothing fancy. Inside smelled of old wood and coffee grounds. She kept her boots on. When Evan reached for a coil of rope by the door, her shoulders jumped, not fear like a child, but reflex like a fighter. Evan quietly took the rope and set it outside, far from the house. He poured coffee and set water on the table. She wrapped her hands around the cup for warmth, and her fingers finally stopped shaking. That night, she did not lie down. She sat against the wall, knees drawn just enough to guard herself, eyes never fully closing. Evan slept light too. In the morning, he found tracks near the far fence, fresh and placed. Someone had come close enough to see she was alive. "They didn't leave me there to die," she said quietly. "They left me to be found." They wanted a man who would stop. Evan understood. They were testing him, testing what kind of man he was. Her name came later. Ka. Just one word, soft and careful. 2 riders showed at the fence. Clean horses. Men who did not work honest. One called himself Heron Voss and spoke of missing property. Evan stood firm. She does not belong to anyone. When one man stepped forward too fast, Evan moved. The fight was short and real. Voss watched and measured. "This is personal now," Voss said, and Evan knew what that meant. Ka carried a small stitched pouch. Inside were papers, names, numbers, cattle counts that did not line up, Mallory's mark. A system. Debt traps. Men disappearing without chains. "They wanted you," Ka said. Quiet. Fair. A man who would stop. They wanted Evan to be part of it, then to disappear. They rode into Charleston for witnesses and rode into a trap. Voss waited with men. Ka dismounted and stood beside Evan, not behind him, not as a shield, as a person who would no longer be placed. She held up the papers. Names were recognized. Faces changed. The crowd shifted, not brave, but awake. Voss reached for his gun. That was his mistake. This time, the truth was louder than bullets. Mallory's name was spoken out loud, and spoken names do not sit quietly in the dark. They lost cattle. Evan took a graze to the ribs. Doing right did not pay clean. It paid honest. Back at the ranch, life returned to small things, fence boards, water drawn slow, meals without hurry. Ka healed, not fast, but honestly. She stayed because she chose to, not because she was owned, not because she was saved, because she was respected. Between them, something settled, not loud love, but quiet trust, built from space, from choice, from restraint. Evan did not save Ka by lifting her up. He saved her by stepping back. Ka did not become strong because someone protected her. She became strong because someone respected her. Sometimes the bravest thing is not what you do. It is what you refuse to do. Love built on choice lasts longer than love built on fear. Respect creates loyalty deeper than control ever could. And the strongest people are not the ones who hold others in place, but the ones who allow them to stand.